ahead and get started. As I just mentioned, my name's Jonathan. I'm here with Sean, who's our head of QA here at Organic Motion, and he's going to be hopping in the system here shortly. We are broadcasting live from our headquarters here in Midtown Manhattan. Please, as I mentioned as well, if you have any questions throughout this webinar, don't hesitate to throw them into the question box in the GoToWebinar application, and we'll stick around, do some Q&A. Quick agenda. It's going to be somewhat quick. Don't plan on being more than 20 minutes showing our OpenStage system here. We're going to be showing kind of in real time how quick and easy it is to use, hop in, start tracking, how you can stream into Motion Builder in real time. We're going to track off some videos, so retracking and some hybrid animation, and then as I mentioned, we'll turn it over to some questions. So everyone should be able to see my screen. What you're basically looking at here is the Backstage application, which is the window into OpenStage, so I can pull up one of these cameras here. That's a real-time look into the stage here in front of me in Midtown. In this particular system, this is a 16 by 16 foot system, which is kind of a medium-sized system in terms of what most of the clients today are using. It goes upwards of 20 by 20, and in some instances even larger than that. There's 18 cameras, as I mentioned, that we're going to be tracking off of at 120. We also have the ability to use more cameras. So what you're looking at over on this side in the middle here is the actual tracking volume. When Sean steps in here in a second, you'll be able to check that out. Over here is our actor plane, where we can add up to 5 actors at the same time. And then this is where we're able to save our animations, and they'll go right there. So Sean, if you want to go ahead and hop in. So Sean's jumping in the system right now. Let's see if we can get a good camera at him. We'll pull that up. So what I'm going to have Sean do here is he's going to go into a T-stand. So if anyone's familiar with a marker-based system, it takes up to an hour or so to get the markers on and calibrated and all that kind of fun stuff. When Sean goes into her T-stance, you'll see exactly how easy it is to start tracking here in our markerless OpenStage system. So let me minimize this just a little bit. Sean, why don't you go ahead and T? Boom. And there he is tracking in real time. So I'll go ahead and get rid of this video. You can see the 18 cameras tracking live here on the left-hand side. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those for a second so we can just kind of focus on Sean doing some moves. Let him dance it around in the system here for a second. So the system does typically go through a calibration process to get to this point. It's pretty standard in terms of how it compares to a marker-based system. It takes about a minute. It involves a wand. But then once you get it up and calibrated, unless camera is kicked or something happens to that extent, it's up, running, and ready to roll to jump in at any time. So we'll go ahead and take a quick real-time capture. So I'm going to go ahead and hit record. Tell Sean to go live, and we'll record a quick move real quick. So action, Sean. There's Sean's quick move there. I'll stop that. Not going to save it, but we'll play it back here for the purposes of this demo. So as you can see, in a matter of seconds, Sean was able to hop in, T-stands, and here we have some raw motion capture data ready to roll. Now, the other way to use the system, and there's a couple other ways, we'll go back to the live view here, is to stream into Motion Builder. So we already have the plugin set up and integrated with Motion Builder here. You see the characters rigged, and Sean is tracking in real time, and that data is streaming into Motion Builder. So to kind of recap here, the advantages of tracking in real time, right? So say you're one of our big game development clients, and for the most part, the OpenStage system is located near the animators, right? This is not in a studio that you have to go to. This is not in a closet that you have to set up. It's installed, rigged, and if the animators want to get animation data, they go ahead and jump right in, and in a matter of seconds, they have it. The advantages of streaming into Motion Builder is, say you're Ubisoft Montreal, for example, they use our system almost primarily for previs, right? So being able to look at a character and how it's moving in real time in an environment, look at different camera angles and all that kind of fun stuff, really gives you the ability to really map out what your motion capture is going to look like going forward before you spend a lot of time and money and a huge, giant motion capture studio. So I'm going to go ahead back into Backstage. I'm going to pull the cameras back up, and we're going to show you an additional way to use the system, and that's reprocessing off the video. Warner Brothers uses this for hybrid animation, and we'll speak more to that in a moment here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit record. I'm going to tell Sean action. He's going to do another quick take, and then he's going to jump out of the system and overview the kind of rotoscoping type tools we've developed along with OpenStage. So go ahead. Action, Sean. All right, I'm going to stop that. Now Sean's going to hop out. And you can go ahead and take over from here, Sean.
All right. So we've got this take that we just recorded, and I'll call it punches for now. I'm going to load it up and see what the tracking looks like. So this is now tracking off of a video that we just recorded, and tracking off of a video gives us a few more capabilities. So I'm going to just set this in point so that I get a nice short animation, and using the batch processing wizard, we have the ability to reprocess a bunch of videos and export JPEGs and do a bunch of new functionality that we've just added in this new version of OpenStage. So for now, I'm just going to take this one video, and I'm going to set it to export an FBX motion file, and I'm going to also export JPEG reference frames at 30 frames per second. I could export them at 60 or 24 or other frame rates, but for now 30 is what I'm animating at, so I'm going to export at 30 frames per second. And this folder looks good for outputting. So now I'll process this video. First, it's retracking off of the video. So this is now tracking off of a video, and next it exports the JPEG frames, which I will show you how to use in just a second.
So this is what Warner Brothers refers to as hybrid animation. So for example, whether you're using markerless or marker-based motion capture, once the data is captured, regardless of how accurate or clean or how great that data is, it's still up to animators, right, to take that data and bring characters to life through that. So for instance, when Warner Brothers was developing Batman Arkham Origins, Batman doesn't necessarily move 100% like a human being would move. He could punch faster, he could jump higher. He does all these things that once you have the motion capture, you still want to take that data and, again, turn that data into Batman. So one of the advantages of using OpenStage to do this is not only is it quick and easy and simple to get to the data, but we also have 18 different camera angles that we've recorded from. So what Sean's about to show you is being able to pick 4 of those videos, bring it into Motion Builder, and do exactly what we mentioned earlier, and that's using kind of a hybrid animation approach and rotoscoping to, again, bring Batman to life.
So we have this script that we provide that sets this all up for you very easily and allows you to see kind of the workflow so you can write your script for your own script for different applications. But we have this for Motion Builder and Maya and Max to make it easy for you. And what I have now is I have a scene in Motion Builder. I have my animation FBX here that you see. And then I have these cameras around. And when I set this to a 4-pane view and start cycling through the cameras, you can now see that we have backplane images set up to show the reference video that we captured in OpenStage. So you can watch the motion that we captured with the video that was used to create that motion. And this is a great way for animators to get very quick animation data that they can steal keyframes from. And they could rotoscope the video, they could steal keyframes from the animation, or some combination of the two to get key poses very quickly.
Okay, so just to recap before we turn it over for Q&A, so we went over real time, right, and showed how quick and easy it was to get in and do motion capture, right, and that's not just great for animators, right, that's great for educators who are looking to get entire classes through the system, right, so as opposed to having one person get in a markered suit, gives the opportunity for everyone in the class to participate in the motion capture process. When you're speaking in terms of therapy or any type of medical uses, this gives the opportunity to get more and more patients through rather than setting someone up for an hour, right? It takes seconds. You get someone in. Most recently, we had the whole Missouri football team is going through on a weekly basis, right, which would not be possible with a marker-based system. And then we showed being able to stream real time, right, so that's great for previs. And then obviously the hybrid animation, which is great for not just students, but also animators who are doing some type of combination of keyframe and motion capture. So I'll go ahead, I'll turn it over to questions. Let's go ahead and check it out here. So the first one I'll throw over to Sean is what type of clothing is typically ideal to wear in the system?
So we usually wear street clothing. Since there's no markers, this is the big kind of thing with our system that you don't really need special clothing. All that we ask is that the clothing be not too big. Dresses generally don't work, but as long as the cameras can see how you're different than the background and they can kind of see your shape, that's really the requirement for this system. So as you can see, I'm wearing just some blue pants and a light blue shirt with some green shoes, sneakers. That's typically what we wear.
Okay, so next question, and I hope that answered everything okay. In terms of purchasing a system and the setup and installation, what does that look like? Do you come install it, or what is involved in that process?
So for installation, we start out with a site survey where we ask you to describe your space and we look it over, and our typical installs will use this aluminum truss, which is this frame for the stage, and we mount cameras to it and lights. And this is a very easy way to install in most environments, but we can also do custom installs if that's not going to work for your space. So we'll work with you on the space, and then a installation engineer will come out and they'll set it up and set up all the cameras, point them, set up the lights, and then there's also some training after it's all set up so that you learn how to calibrate the system, which is a very easy process, and just how to do the basic motion capture, recording motion and recording videos and things like that.
Okay, I had a fair question here. Bill wants to know what type of moves don't track well in the system, which we'll be the first to admit, just like a marker-based system, not every single thing you're going to try to do in the system is going to work as you would like it to.
So this has been changing over time. So originally it used to be fast moves didn't work, for instance, but now with 120 frames per second, fast moves actually work pretty well. The most difficult right now is closed off moves where the system can't get a good sense of where you are because you're in a ball on the ground, for instance. So if you want to sit on the ground and hug your knees, that won't track very well. That's better for an animator to do alone. But if some of these problems also are problems that a marker-based system would have because the markers would be obscured by your other arms and things like that. We're looking at the silhouette, so there's always more work we can do to improve the software to get a better sense of the silhouette under stressful situations, but basically open moves work well and great, and then more closed-off moves are not always don't always work as well if you're really closed off and tangled up.
Okay, that's it for questions. We certainly appreciate everyone taking the time to join us today. We recorded this, so we'll send it out to everyone who signed up, both in attendance and not in attendance. Again, thank you for everyone taking their time, and have a great day.